Hello, everybody. This is Don Counts, and we are at the Warrior exhibit in Fayetteville, Tennessee. And I have Linda Williams with us today. And Linda, tell us who we have here.
Don, today we have Jody King, and he served in the Navy, and we're excited to hear his story today.
Tell us a bit about yourself, where you grew up, and what led you into the military.
Well, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, actually just south of it in Antioch, and my mother was a nurse in the VA, and she worked there for 43 years, and she was a head care coordinator there. And I was going to school at John Overton High School, and then also to Antioch. And my mother was good friends with a retired captain there that was working for the VA, and he asked if I was interested in joining the Navy, and it looked like a good goal to put towards, and he worked it out to where I could go in there and apply for the Navy with a recruiter, and didn't ever expect to be part of the Navy. I also lived part-time in Pensacola with my dad, and didn't even know there was a naval base there in Pensacola. Ended up going to that place eventually. But my mom being a nurse, they asked me, they said, do you want to be a corpsman? Or would you like to be a supply clerk on a submarine? And it's like, I like to see the sun every once in a while. And I don't think I want to do corpsman because that's my mom's thing. So I said, I really like mechanics. They said, well, we got a job opening for aviation mechanic. And so I applied for the aviation mechanic, scored high enough on the ASVAB. And that's what I chose to do as a career path. And I'm grateful because there's a lot of people that help young people along the way trying to find their path, and Charles Stewart was the captain that helped me get in the Navy. And in fact, Mr. Paul Matheny, who's here locally, he was good friends with Charles Stewart, so we've developed a little relationship and spoke about other people every once in a while. And it's good to have a good veteran community here in Fayetteville. But,
So how long were you in?
I was in 21 years, and the majority of my time being there at NAS Oceana in Virginia Beach. I was fortunate enough to where all the squadrons were right there close together. I had opportunities to go to different squadrons if I wanted to, or move around. But to conserve money, they try to keep you in the place if you desire to. Otherwise, they're going to fill billets wherever they need to. But I was fortunate to spend all my time there in Virginia Beach. I started out at a RAG squadron, a VF 101, and that was a Grim Reapers, and that was an F-14 command, and so we had a little over 60 aircraft there that we maintained, and I was in a line shack, a PC for the aircraft, and started up the aircraft and assisted the pilots in getting ready to take off, and learned the general startup of how aircraft works in the line shack. And then I went on to my main job, which was airframes, and airframes is a structural and hydraulic mechanic, and that's what I did there for the beginning of my first part of the career. As the Tomcats began to phase out, I had gone on to another squadron, VF-11, and VF-11 is the Red Rippers, and we had a lot of camaraderie there. It was the best squadron, I think, in the Navy. I still love that command. I still see people and talk to them on a regular basis from that command, and other commands as well. But I just loved it because, you know, they just had a special, I don't know, just something about them that they stood out. They're one of the oldest squadrons in the world, and you know, they had a lot of experience in being on the flight deck, and we just had a lot of fun every port we hit. So it was great being part of that command. I do have to share this because this was one of the highlights for me too, being in the Navy, was I got to go to UAE, and a lot of people do, but we were picked. There's a few guys that were handpicked to go and support the alliance between the UAE pilots.
What is UAE?
United Arab Emirates is a country, and we're good friends and allies with them. In fact, I think President Trump just made a trip there and got to speak with their leaders there, and we like to keep that alliance, especially military-wise, because they have a lot to offer, and so do we. When we join forces together, it's just a good thing. So I got to go to their hotel there. They put us there in 2 weeks after going on deployment. About halfway through deployment, you're sleeping in this small rack on a regular basis. You're looking for any time, any opportunity to get off the boat, and I was just lucky enough to go to that. So I supported them both as a mechanic and a line personnel to where I could start the aircraft for them. And I was fortunate to be under the leadership of Commander Black, who is eventually our commanding officer, but at the time he was our XO, and he led the reins as far as that was concerned. And that was a highlight of my career, I think, because we got to sit down with the pilots of UAE and speak to them one-on-one. They hosted us with a wonderful dinner and nice accommodations in a hotel, and we got to see their aircraft. They were flying Mirage 2000s. We were still flying F-14 Tomcats, and it was a little friendly air-to-air combat, and we really enjoyed that. As something special for me to be able to take part of. And yeah, then after that I went on. I just spent 5 years there at VF-11 until they converted to F-18 Super Hornets. And the Super Hornets, we went to school for that, got training, and from there I went on to another command, which was the older Legacy Hornets, the F-18 Alphas and Charlies, and we got training on that, and that was with VFA 106. And they also had Super Hornets, but they had it, segregated by two different sides. They had the Legacy Hornets and they had the Super Hornets. So I got to go there, and then I went and painted aircraft there for a while, and got more experience doing the structural part of the aspect of airframes, and I enjoyed that as well. A lot of good friends. I was beginning to take on a little bit of a leadership role there, and had other people helping me grow. I also applied for officer program at that time, and unfortunately for me, I didn't have the wits about me to move on, but at least I tried. They had a lot of good programs to help you prepare if you wanted to do something like that. And so I ended up beginning my degree with aeronautics at that point and went to school just part-time as I could. I had already been on one deployment with VF-11. That was my first cruise with the USS George Washington and the carrier. And then when I went on to 106, that was a shore duty command, so I was able to concentrate more on my school, and so that's where I spent most of my time doing that. Then after that, I went on to VFA 83, and VFA 83 was another legacy command, and I just carried on and made rank and was doing real well, and went to corrosion, airframes, and the tool room. Worked all those different shops while I was there, and did real well with that command. They were Rampagers. They were a real good command to be with. And then I went on from there to VFA 32. I went back-to-back sea duty so I could stay in Virginia Beach, because of course I didn't want to have to move my family around. And so we went from there. VFA 32 was a Super Hornet command. And again, we went on deployments. I went on to Eisenhower 3 times, and with the Rampagers, VF 83, I went out with the Truman. So, I got to spend a lot of time out at sea, and I went on 5 deployments. We went on one that was a 9-month deployment, and then we came back home for 2 months and went back out for another 6 months. And my wife, I can't take credit for the work done, because she was the one that held the family together, and I think that's the number one thing about people in the community. We do honor the veterans that are around, but we also need to honor those families that sacrifice their time and their welfare to keep their families out at sea and whatever they need to do. So my wife carried on to take care of our 2 daughters, Lacey and Sydney. And I had another daughter from a previous marriage, and her name is Bella. And so I got to see her on a regular basis as well. And I was just very fortunate. But I ended up doing that time in the Navy with the Sea Commands, and then I went on to VFA 106 again. and this time on the Super Hornet side. And our airframe shop was pretty big. We had a group of 76 sailors just in that one shop. And so I was supervising for one of those shifts and taking care of maintenance on a regular basis. And I went to QA for a while, went to maintenance control, held a phase coordination of aircraft where we do detailed maintenance on aircraft. And I mean, I had a ball. I really got to enjoy the aspects of not only being part of the Navy, but getting to see other countries. That was the pinnacle of the Navy. That's what I love about it the most, because when you come back home and you realize how grateful you should be for your freedom, because there's so many other countries out there, you know, the families are living in poverty. They don't have anything, and they'd be very grateful just to have $1 in their pocket. And when you go there and you get to experience the cultures that they have, and you get to experience the different land settings and the beauty of what each country has, I mean, it really makes you feel special. But when you come back home, I think we have a combination of it all. We got Florida, we got New York, we got Alaska, we got Hawaii, and I mean, wherever you go, whether it's in country or on the outskirts, it's really something worth fighting for. So I'm grateful that I got to spend my time in the Navy, and my family supporting me, and me supporting the country.
So, would you recommend a young person this day and time to go into the military?
You know, I do. I've actually, my cousin is interested in joining, and I'm doing everything I can to help promote it. And I used to, quick story, my father was very ill, and he grew up in Jasper, Tennessee. And at the time, he had already retired from Pensacola and was moving back to Jasper, Whitwell, Tennessee. And he had got stricken with lung cancer. And I was fortunate enough that the Master Chief, and I'll never forget him, Master Chief Hall of VF-11, this is back in 2005 when I was first getting, you know, my feet wet in the Navy. He said, I asked him, I said, I want to do whatever I can do to be closer to my father just for a couple months, because that's all he has to live. And, you know, that Master Chief went out his way and coordinated with the career counselors down here in Tennessee, in Cleveland, Tennessee, to where I could recruit out of there. So I got a little bit of recruiting experience, 3 months of that. And, you know, during that time I did work, got a few people in. And I didn't ever go to the school or anything, just told people the truth. You know, it is what you make out of it. And it's very competitive, but so is the civilian world. But you can't ask for a better place to be than in the military, because they offer so many benefits. And I tell people that all the time. So yeah, absolutely, I would tell you, if you thought about joining the military, whether it be any branch, yes, absolutely, I think it's the way to go. Whatever suits you best. I'm not much of a runner. I never have been, so I disappointed my dad by not being a Marine. I said I like swabbing the deck, so I don't mind doing that as long as I don't have to run track.
So, knowing what you do today, what you did in the military carried over to your civilian life.
Absolutely, it's a cornerstone of my life in every aspect, because I benefited greatly my family. I was able to take care of my family. You know, it's really the people that support the military, because without the people of this country that support the military and the gratitude that they show, I wouldn't be able to get those benefits. It's for the people that they vote for. They keep these benefits, you know, engaged, and helping to get the education out there. You know, because a lot of people don't know unless they're actually taught what benefits are out there. So Tennessee's been real good with that. I think Governor Lee has supported the military in a fond way, and even the local government. But overall, I think we really owe it to the people, because the military can only shine as bright as the people allow it to. So I'm grateful for that, because without the military, I would not be where I am today. And I have a great job working for a great company called Ulista, and I'm fortunate to be able to work for them and have the experience that I do. And I think, you know, aviation is one of those things that'll never go away, just like, computer work or anything else. It's going to be evolving as long as people are around and need to transport. So I'm grateful, absolutely.
Very good. We thank you for your service, and we thank you for telling your story.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it. Thank you, Linda.